What up, y'all? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I don't even know how I did that, but it's all good. Let's see. Now it's not up there. That is dope. That is dope. Welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. Blessed Lisa. Hey, how's it going? How's it going? Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. Good morning, Keita. Thank you for being here as well. For some crazy reason, I did not set up for Facebook. I did put it in now. So now it's the delayed. There we go. Now it's here. Awesome sauce. So make sure you share. Let everybody know that the Brothers is on today. Let's see. Let's scroll. Let's scroll here. Let's give you this and give you that. Welcome to the BOL broadcast. All right. So it's time to share. It's time to share. All right. Let's talk change. All right. So today we are talking about how to change and how to become better. Somebody showed up and they disappeared. How to become better. It is it can be a challenge at times. It can be a struggle at times. Change is something that has to come from within. It has to be something that you decide for yourself that you want something different. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, today that's what we're talking about. All right, let's go. Cool.
What's up?
What's up? We're in a different part of the house, or we're someplace different.
No, we're at my high school childhood's house. I'm in Houston, actually visiting my parents and grandmother.
Gotcha. So this is kind of where we grew up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm in their living room right now. Yeah.
Are you in the sacred living room? Is this the sacred living room?
Yes, this is the sacred living room
With the
where my father meticulously placed every single thing that you see behind me.
Don't you dare go on that. You gotta go around and oh man, it's so funny. I think like houses aren't made that way anymore. You know, with the sacred living room, everything is just wide open.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, this is a foreign concept. Yeah.
Right. For love, you don't know the sacred living room. Hey, Calendar. you don't know good till you really know that sacred living room, the room that nobody goes in unless your parents allow you in. Like, come in there.
Mm-hmm.
Come. Yes, come.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man, with the sometimes the plastic couch coverings.
Yeah. Now that's something my parents didn't do.
Okay.
And it really wasn't something my grandmother didn't do. My great grandmother though.
Okay.
Plastic on the couches, plastic on the floor, plastic on the table. Oh yeah, plastic on everything.
So you're not about to mess this up.
Exactly.
Wow. Wow, that is hilarious. That is hilarious. Yeah, my parents didn't do it either.
Yeah.
My grandmother, not that I remember. Mm-hmm. My great aunt, yeah, she did. She had the plastic. Because I always think like, how can you enjoy something with that plastic on? How are you really enjoying what you paid for? You know, I know you don't want to tear it up, but you can't even feel the softness.
Yeah, you can't appreciate
this expensive couch,
right?
With that plastic on it. Like,
yeah,
like I never understood it.
I haven't either. You paid through the nose,
right?
For discomfort in the house. I don't get that.
You scratching? Oh god, you fall asleep on that with your face.
Oh.
What's up, Mama McCoy? Great morning to you.
Oh man.
All right, and yeah, I know people like someone like, what are you talking about? Like, I know you guys know. People in here now, I know y'all know about the plastic couches. Stop playing. Stop acting. Stop acting. What's up, Deborah? Happy Monday. Happy Monday to everybody. And again, welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. Where we don't stand out, we stand up. And my YouTube's kind of funky, but y'all, as long as y'all still here, that's all that matters. I'm not even worried
Yeah.
about it. It's all that matters. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's see. So today we're talking about how to become better. Of course, you're looking at two gentlemen. We're talking about how to become better men, and some of our journey and things we've discovered, and some of the reasons that helped us become better. So we're gonna dig into that. So maybe just the AD and Cole show today. Let's do that.
All right. All right.
We're gonna go ahead and jump into it. Un momento, por favor. And this is your opportunity to share. Sharing is caring. Tag somebody. Let everybody know that the brothers are in the building. Another week of greatness is happening right before your eyes. So share, inbox everybody, spam them. Just don't get put in Facebook jail. And we'll be back in one moment. I didn't want to catch that.
Morning.
Good morning. Welcome to another episode. Good morning. What's up, everybody? This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. Ready to go live? Go to bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. That's bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. This episode is also brought to you by Self. Build credit now. Go to bit.ly/now build credit. bit.ly/now build credit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's so crazy. All right. All right. So let's dig into it. All right. So we're talking about change and how to become better. All of it's a process, and none of us ever reaches, I don't believe, even in your lifetime, that you reach the pinnacle of changing everything, that you desire. It's always things that you're working on. There's always moments that you're like, I thought I got rid of that, but you just brought it out of me, So we're always on a journey. So none of us, me and Cole and anyone else that comes on this panel today will ever speak from a place of full 100 completion. We're always a work in progress. We're always working to get better. There's always some kind of hang up, something that you're trying to get rid of. You're just, you try it, because I think a lot of times what change is, once you begin to realize this thing I need to work on, once I begin to become different, then it's avoiding the triggers that can send you backwards. Whether it's anger, whether there's some kind of addiction, it's just those triggers, or moving from a space where you're not tempted to be what you used to be. And I'll even say for myself, sometimes it was communicating with my wife, trying to stay in the space of hearing what she says in a positive nature, as opposed to I do everything wrong, and then closing up. So it's like, I hear it like, okay, you're hearing what she says, right? It's like having the conversation in your head. You understand that she just said such and such and such and such. Not that you do everything wrong. It's just these are the things that she would like to see more of. I got it. It's like high five, good talk, and process accordingly, and trying to change. Because a lot of things becomes habitual, it just becomes a standard thing of what you do when certain situations arise, right? Right. Some do, when certain situations arise, and having those, I guess, self-talk, it's kind of like talk yourself back off the ledge. It's like you got to look at things in a certain light, a certain situation, and come back and realize and react differently. Because it's like once you learn the proper reaction to things, it's just basically trying to repeat those things so that you can maintain healthy relationships. And it's not just spousal, but it's just everything, even work, people that just seem to fly off the handle every time you try to tell them something. They realize, okay, I got to be able to accept correction without flying off the handle. So I'm sure you know, as correction is going, it's like they're just telling you that you need to work on this one thing, not that you're a horrible employee.
Right.
Just work on this one thing, you know, like, so it's, you know, that change and self-correction is also, you know, it's all this about. So Cole, um, in your life, right? You don't have to give too many specifics on things that you worked on, if unless you want to, of course. You know, what was some of your things that you were trying to change in your life, or the challenges, and then what motivated you to change?
Well, I can tell you one right off the rip that I wanted to change. My mouth was foul.
Ooh,
I, I can't put it any more plainly or bluntly.
right, right,
This
right.
wonderful contraption right here had one obscenity after another fly out of it.
Wow.
And it was to the point where people would joke about how often I would actually curse, right? So
Right,
I didn't think anything of it
right,
throughout my 20s and into my 30s.
Right.
Didn't think anything of it. Didn't even think
Right.
it was a problem or mistake.
right,
Even in going into a more elevated circles, did not even think that was a problem, right?
wow.
Until I met my wife.
Right.
But now I'll backtrack and say I met her in my 20s, but we were like basically two ships passing in the night, and we split off, and then we didn't see each other for another 10 years.
Right.
So when we reconvened, I noticed that I was having difficulty expressing myself in ways that reflected what I believe is the intelligence level I have. So,
Right.
you know, one day, and I knew my wife was this way.
Right.
She just simply does not even believe in saying profanities at all,
Wow.
and would address you if you were to do it on a consistent basis.
Right.
Because she'll say something to the effect of, quote, a beautiful soul like you
Wow.
should not have such an ugly mouth, or have such ugly things come out of your mouth.
Wow.
Close quote. So I understood that.
Yeah.
I still had that hard-headed mentality, though, plunging into it. And so one night we had a conversation where I was called out on something.
Okay.
And I remember I was called out on it, and I said, shh. But I actually said the word to her.
Right.
And I grimaced, and it was silence for like 10 seconds.
Wow.
And then I actually picked up my head, and I was actually just talking on the phone with her.
Right.
Picked up my head, and I actually said the following words to her. I said, I'll tell you from this point forth, you will never hear me utter another obscenity in life.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow.
That was November 2009.
Right.
To my word, I haven't uttered one since.
Wow.
And I have noticed the level of intellectual, intelligent, and highbrow conversations exponentially increased because of that.
Right. You found other ways to express yourself.
I found other ways to express myself, to the point where now, if I'm in those circles where people just simply have obscenities fly,
Right.
I say to them, "Oh, I can think those words. They come."
Right.
My mouth just is like,
right.
nah, not coming out your mouth.
Right.
But that definitely is one avenue where I can say, yeah, I went through a change to better myself.
Awesome.
Yeah, and of course later it was, you know, of course scripture helped too, you know.
Right. Right.
The power of the tongue carries life and death with it, and those loves is fruit, loves is life. So yeah, and when I had that solidified, I'm like, okay, I got it. So when I speak obscenity after obscenity after obscenity after obscenity, I'm speaking death. Gotcha. Okay.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Wow. And it's funny. Like, I think mine was when I was young. You know, did you grow up in an environment where like there were a lot of obscenities, like in the house, or nah?
Oh, I did.
Okay.
I did. I noticed that it started to get a little less and less when I got older.
Okay.
But but it was still prolific.
Gotcha.
It was still prolific enough to where I caught on and used it myself.
My mother never, when I was, because she had already become a dual witness. So yeah, she may have prior to, don't know, never knew who she was before then. My dad, he did his was probably TV worthy, like the D's and a couple of S's sometimes. But he never dropped the F-bomb. I don't think I remember him dropping the F-bomb. Like, he never got really cussed like in front of me, like I ever heard in earshot. And I'll say, and it's funny. So it's funny when I went to college, me and a friend of mine kind of grew up in the same kind of household, and we just, I don't know, went on a cussing spree and was like, why are we cussing so much? I was like, probably because we out of the house.
Yeah.
And I just, and for the most part, like I did a little bit. I wasn't heavy on it. Of course, once I got saved, I was able to kind of put it away. I will say, when we talk about triggers that has happened, I've had times when you get the blue lights behind you.
Again, one of those moments where those are there.
Yeah,
it's in there.
I can't stop it. I can't. Because I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna tell myself, like, there was a point I messed my license up. So, getting the blue lights while you driving is like, man, it's about to be a situation.
Yes.
And listen, shout out to the cops, because a lot of them they've let me go. Like, they're just like, dude, I've had, especially in New York, they're like, get your stuff together. Get out of here, so I've had those, only got hit, taken away once. Horrible experience, but it was all me. It was all me. Like I can't even oh man. Now I will say I gotten pulled with no reason. I've gotten, like I was like, they're gonna find something, but I was like, I got like, what you getting me for?
Yeah.
Driving while scared, because it made me so nervous. I was like, because they get behind me like, oh man, stuff straight on the license plate and stuff, but just like,
oh my gosh, that reminds me of a Chris Rock skit talking about a protocol as to how to deal with the police.
Right,
and it was one part where he says, now, this is how you're supposed to respond to police. You're supposed to have your hands on the 10 and 2. Right. And then you're supposed to say, is there a problem, officer?
Right.
You're not supposed to do this. And there's a guy, and TLC would call in the passenger seat a scrub.
Right.
Right. And the scrub is just talking all sorts of noise to the cop.
Right. Right.
Saying, don't even do beep, don't even give him beep.
Right.
And then the shot cuts to the police officer pulling that scrub and the driver out the car, beating them both down. And then you hear Chris's narration say, unless you want to get your beep kicked.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, so I know, like,
oh gosh,
getting so so your change came because you realized it wasn't helpful, it wasn't fruitful,
right? Yeah.
Some of your help, of course, is just like, having your wife kind of check, like, yo, I'm not going to do it anymore,
right.
But your change was not necessarily for her, it's for you, but it benefited her.
Exactly. I mean, it was to the point where, and this was happening like about maybe a year after my divorce until when I met my wife.
Right.
And I would hear more and more, wow, you speak rather intelligently. Okay, interesting. And a first meeting of me back then, it would be, people would say that to me, right?
Right.
And if I got around a circle of guys, or definitely guys, but I got around a circle of guys who knew me for a good while.
Right.
And this happened one time. I was in a music clique.
Okay.
And this was like back in 2007. And we were in the studio and we were recruiting a woman to the crew. So
right.
we were basically having a get to know you session, so to speak. Right. And so, she was looking around the room and she looked at me. She says, yeah, you seem to be a really nice guy. You seem to be one who, doesn't cause a ruckus and all that.
Right.
The very next thing that came out of one of my friends' mouths was, and that MF cuss is like a cello. that N word's mouth is loose. I mean, just like, wow.
Right.
And I was hearing more and more of that. So yeah, wow. the motivation for me to change wasn't with my wife, but right. it was getting to that point.
Right.
And then God brought my wife in, a woman right. who doesn't really do that. And right. the impetus for me to actually put the feet to fire and say, right. let's go here. Right. That's when it started. So yeah.
Nice. Carlinda says, I used to swear, and I would drop the F-bomb every other word. It was terrible and very unbecoming of me. I don't swear very often, but every once in a while I get disgusted. Right. Mm-hmm. It's and then it's changing your vocab, it's changing your mindset, trying to process before you speak. It's like that, kind of like TV. It's got to get that delay and then you speak. Right. I think that's some of the keys. And we talked about change. We talked about changing because of yourself.
Right.
What I've discovered in my life is when I change for me, I can maintain that change.
Right.
When you change for external stuff, those things change, and it's like it pushes to revert me back to who I was because something has disappointed me, something has let me down. If you change for somebody, like especially if you're in a relationship and you change for them, and then they let you down, now it's like it ain't even worth the change. So you're more likely to revert back to who you were, as opposed to who you're becoming. And so so one of the things I just want people to take away is, if you're deciding to change something out of your life, even something unhealthy, something as simple as smoking. And I say simple because that's an obvious change. But something as simple as smoking, it has to be something internal. You have to decide for yourself, like, this is not good for me. I need to change this thing, and of course, for me, it would be like, I don't want the kids getting secondhand. I don't want them smoking, and things of that nature. It begins to, that could be a second step, like, of why you shouldn't. But you need to, I really feel, and anybody out there, correct me if I'm wrong, it should be more internal than external. Because I've noticed anything I've changed for myself, I've been able to maintain, as opposed to trying to change for somebody or something, even if it was for a job or something. But you could lose a job, like, oh, I'm going back to smoking, so I think, change becomes challenging. Now, Cole, you've mentioned you're on your second marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
In that process, if I can ask, what are some of the things that you've learned from the first to the second? And I know how old were you when you first got married?
I was literally 2 days from 30.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like, I remember it was the 3rd of September. Yeah. I feel you. So what things had you learned between the first and the second?
I can tell you one of the things I did learn that I did in the first marriage,
okay,
that I was going to do in the second.
What's up, dude?
And I realized I shouldn't, was look at the behavior of that particular person at current and attach past behaviors of others to her.
Gotcha.
And I remember one conversation I had with my wife. I actually said, "Man, you remind me of my ex-wife."
Oh.
So she didn't say anything, nasty to me. Right. She didn't even check me. She allowed me to check myself in that instance.
I got you.
So I sat with it and thought about that. I'm like, good Lord. I thought I actually changed and not assign behaviors of other people and patterns of other people
right.
upon the woman that you're dating or marrying.
Right.
How short-sighted are you?
Right.
So that was a huge change, because if I kept going down that road, I would probably be talking about divorce number 2. Wow. So so I have tried my best not to assign.
You're so silly.
I'm sorry, Cole. I'm sorry. It was.
I can use that argument to be okay.
You remind me of my ex.
Yeah.
Quick
so
backstory: we married, divorced, and then we got remarried. Just so y'all know, like, what? So go ahead, Cole.
Yeah. So I was gonna say I've learned not to do that with not just exes, but my mother, or one of my cousins, or a coworker. I try not to compare and contrast with my wife with any other woman, because that's a recipe for disaster. And that's not necessarily saying that my wife is the jealous type.
Right.
To do that type of comparison and a contrasting is disrespectful to her.
Right.
So so that was something that I learned that I did in my first marriage that I don't do now in this one.
Gotcha.
Can I ask a stupid question? Because this is gonna sound stupid. Because I agree with everything you just said. I really do. Wholeheartedly, I do. But at some point, and this is just my mind talking out loud. Are people sensitive? Like, and this is what I mean. Is it right to compare your spouse to your ex-spouse? Absolutely not. But then again, is it? Because I'm like, when talking about relations, people don't care as long as they're not hurt, right? Most of the time. Okay. If you don't hurt somebody, you do whatever. Okay. But like, I've seen people, we talk about forgiveness and how we're supposed to be and everything, but nobody wants to forgive when it's done to them. It's like, oh, you might as well go to prison for murder one, because you broke you
okay. Hurt. I hate what you're saying. So Sam put this up, and I was gonna throw it at you. So
I was looking at that. I was looking at that.
That's what I was looking at. Because I know, like, I would, like, I mean, I hear what you're saying, Dwayne, but I would be hurt. Like, I'm like, I'm like, what?
Here's the thing. Look, I think, how would I feel?
Yes, really.
Well, when it happened to me, at first I was heated. Like, you calling me this other ninja? Like, woman, what's? But then after,
wait, hold on. But I will pause and say, unless she was like Coretta Scott King.
I'm like, we don't know what Coretta did behind closed doors.
No, I'm saying compared me to Martin.
That's what I'm.
Behind closed doors. You're right. You're right. Not that Martin. Right. But go ahead.
But like, I was at first, and then I realized, you know what?
That's true too.
There was something that I might have been doing that reminded me of something.
True, me.
And is that fair?
Right.
Maybe the unfair thing is for you to say my ex, but to point out whatever it is you're doing, is that such a bad thing? Yes. When post crime, all I'm saying is there's fallacy in relationships. Sometimes there's this fantasy between husband and wife, and this soul glow universe where everything is perfect and juicy and everything else. But then when everybody else look at the curl, you want the curl to look a certain way. And if it don't look a certain way, it's somebody's problem. But when I say comparing, I'm only saying, if you're doing something wrong and that person did something wrong, isn't it there's a behavior that's wrong? I think you got to finesse how you do it, because sometimes comparison ain't that bad if the comparison is you being wrong and the other, as far as the standard, wrong to right. But we don't want to hear that.
I will say one, and maybe how you say it, like, so Sam said, she said AD doesn't like, even when I compare him to his former self. Like, I'm starting to do something different. I mean, and in my head, I'm trying to think of like, how would you like? It's you. I don't think you can bring up the X situation. You could maybe be like, doing that reminds me of some bad stuff. Like it triggers something. Like
right.
you are probably not doing something wrong. Like say like in a I had a bad relationship. My girl cheated on me, and she always had her phone flipped over. So I'm with my wife currently, and she always flipping the phone. Like
Right.
and you gotta, and it's like, because it's a lot of it's a mental thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, I mean, wrong is wrong. First cheating, next cheat, it's just wrong. But certain behaviors, you just admit like I'm working through something. It's speaking in a manner where I'm working through something. So certain behaviors that you do remind me of old stuff. I know you're not wrong. It's how you have the conversation. I know
Right.
you're not wrong.
Exactly.
So please give me a moment while I process us, and because especially if someone's been with someone 10 plus years, like 10 plus a long time of constant seeing of a pattern that goes bad. It's like having a conversation, I think, definitely makes a difference. You know what I'm saying? It's how you say it. But if you just like, you remind me of my ex,
No, you can't do that. No. If you do it in that fashion right there, yeah, it's gonna be some smoke in the city.
Like your women always right, yeah.
And that's the other part. I mean, I laugh about
men
it.
Always, but
when
that turns me off.
Look, I'm telling you, when a dude mess up, we deserve whatever consequences coming.
Right.
But
right.
The reality of it is this: we say you can't compare us to nobody else, but let's be for real. What's the difference between you and the next man? You may have slight different thinking, but you're made and designed and created the same way. Right. So there's a large part of who we are that's going to be relatively similar.
Well, the same is true with women too. But
the same is true with women. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's the truth. You act like your mama. Sometimes you do act like your daddy. But when somebody tell you who you're acting like, you take it sensitive because this is you. I don't want nobody telling me about me. I know me better than all y'all. Y'all think y'all know me, but y'all don't know me like I know me. So of course we get defensive when that comes up, and it doesn't make it better when you compare me to somebody who didn't work out. Because in my mind, what I'm seeing is, you saying we're not going to work out,
and that's what women see too.
Right? Right. But
that's the exact thing they see.
The truth is, you're not acting like the advertised product. That's what the truth is. But nobody says that.
Well, I mean, that's, we all go through change, and when you see somebody every day, like you're not gonna get the best of somebody every day. You're gonna get some ugly sides, and let me physically and
Yeah, and let me piggyback off of Sam's latest comment, because that's what I wanted to say.
She said, we were created physically the same way, but we're all designed to be unique and different. Indeed.
We do see similarities. Yes, no question. Our job is to point out the uniqueness and the difference in that particular partner.
Right.
And if we don't do that, well, then we are pretty much, like I know both you and AD has heard, with quote, just like every other man, close quote.
Right.
Because I'm sure almost every other man in their lives has compared them to another woman.
Right.
So would you want Stacey Dwayne, or would you want Sam AD to see your wives be compared to another woman, and that comes out of your mouth? I don't think so.
Nah.
Because you don't want to see the pain on their face when you actually say, you know what, this bad behavior reminds me of my mama, or this bad behavior reminds me of an ex.
Because
here's the only retort to that. Because like I said, I agree with it, but if it's
another road,
if it's a compliment,
is
that a bad thing too?
I mean, granted,
you say you cook just as good as my ex. I ain't saying like that. But if you compliment them on something,
yes, that would be the exact same as well.
No, right?
Yes.
No, I'm not saying that. No, I know that would. But I'm saying if you compliment them in an area, you still know whether it was from your ex or not. The only thing that matters is who the comparison is to. You don't have to see. The problem is when you start comparing your spouse to somebody else, you're already wrong. Just stay in your realm. You can say it without saying it.
Well, yeah.
Your ex was a loudmouth and disrespectful. Oh, you so disrespectful when you talk to me. You got to say it. Don't say you talk to me just like my ex talked to me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we all have a lot of times I think we develop what we like and what we don't like, through experience, previous relationships, because when you first start in your relationship journey, you're figuring out what you like, what you don't like, we kind of accept everything. You're like, I don't really like this kind of interaction, I think, can we do more of this, unless it's so much of one way that you don't like that you may end up breaking up or whatever, but you really kind of figure out for the most part, some of your likes and don't likes. So of course you're coming into your new relationship, you like, this is what I like, even in the beginning, because
but see, everything you're saying, those likes and dislikes, those are personal preference. Those aren't really differences in people. I mean the differences between us,
right?
The differences between us are smaller than the things we share in common. When it comes to like what Sam says, you're not like any other man.
Right.
If she felt that way, then well, you just be any other joker. The truth of the matter is, it's the bond that you and Sam have built since childhood that's not like anybody else.
Sam. 100 Sam. 100.
Because when you compare me to you, and if you just put on paper and then put it's like the blind taste test, I guarantee you it'd be super difficult for the typical person.
Well, here's the counter.
Go ahead, Cole. Go ahead.
Here's the counter to that counter.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to say, man, I'm telling you, the way you made that spaghetti, babe, whoa, man, you put your foot in it just like my mama.
Right.
Or man, you man, now that was the bomb. Now when my ex did this, or if a friend of mine did this, it was just as good. You know what the response will be most of the time?
Who would that be?
Do you want to be with that heifer?
Yeah, that's for the ex.
And that is
friend made it. Who would that be?
and that is if you're being complimentary to her in comparison to another woman. So to me, I don't even jump on that train, whether it's a complimentary thing or a critical thing, because you're going down a rabbit hole you do not want to be in, because it's going to take a long, long time to climb out of it.
Right. I think comparisons can be, they can be dangerous, especially with personal people in your life.
Who are you comparing it to? That's the problem right there.
I mean, I'm just like either ex or my mama, like those two are some of the big sensitive. Even a sister, can be sensitive, or honestly,
or a sister,
or my coworker.
Yeah,
that's
sister,
a woman.
Sister, co-worker, college classmate, high school classmate. I don't care what other woman you're comparing your wife to.
She said, because I was sitting in my head, kind of playing out a conversation. I was like, yeah, nah, that wouldn't. I don't think that'd go down.
Once again, y'all are proving my point.
What's that?
What's my point? People are sensitive.
We are.
We
are sensitive. Like,
and that herein lies the problem.
Ow! How's that the problem? Like, who wants to be compared?
I'll put you like this. There's a few times my wife talks about things that she's done with her exes, and I'm talking about things that are NC-17.
Right.
I don't say anything to her on that, because my tagline at the end of it is, and you ain't with him. Because if I didn't have that tagline, I would look at her with the Stone Cold Killer look.
Right.
No one wants to be compared, man. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter with what subject or how.
What's up, Pastor? Good morning to you, sir.
And I don't think that's sensitive. I just think that's it's just respectful.
But okay, see, you say respectful though, right?
Right.
Now watch. Does it change anything other than your head? Does it change anything? Truth or false? No, I'm saying whether she's telling the truth in her comparison, or he's telling the truth in his comparison, or he's not telling the truth, or she's not telling the truth. Does it change anything? The only thing it changes is right here.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that doesn't need to be said, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
It's an unnecessary kind of.
I agree with that point. All I'm saying is you take out the look. My wife talks about her childhood a lot. In her childhood, there was a lot of dudes that liked her, and a lot of dudes that want. And I look at it and I'm like, I don't want to hear this. So I'm telling you, I understand and I agree with what you're saying. But the reason I'm answering this way is because with me, I've also took the time to sit back when it's just me and my thoughts. And I was like, bro, she was with that dude 25 years ago. 25 years ago. He might be fat and have no teeth now. What am I mad about? I'm married to her. We got a family and kids together.
Right. But he said, please mute the Wayne.
And that's because I am, it may not be popular. Like I say, I agree with you guys, but I'm telling you from my experience, this is a sensitivity that sometimes we got to get rid of. It ain't gonna change nothing. Hey, AD, you got a light bill due, you got a mortgage payment, you got a car payment, and you ain't got no money coming in. What you gonna do?
Rob,
you already worked as hard as you can, as many hours as you can. What are you gonna do?
If it's Creflo Dollar, we will praise him anyhow.
Right.
The only point that I'm making is there ain't anything different you can do that's gonna change anything. So you have to live with the situation.
Right. Yeah, but here's how some women will live in that situation. If you were to have that mentality and you were to keep doing that, there will be one thing that would change. Right. You would be putting X in front of the wife part. That is a huge fundamental change right there.
And you're right, and this is why you have to have a mature person in a relationship. I don't care what anybody says. When you take maturity out of relationships, because I guarantee you, somebody can do and say something to you right now that they couldn't do and say to you when you was in your 20s and have the same result.
I mean, so I'm glad you said that, my brother. Shifting back to becoming better, right? And we want to change, and someone saying something when we're younger as opposed to when we're older. Of course, our reaction is different. Our thought process is different. When something is going down, we're like, especially if you're by yourself, you're like, let me, all of us are in, if you're sitting somewhere or like you went to a restaurant or you go into a fast food place to get some food, you see folks come in, you start looking around, your spidey sense goes off. It's about to go down. Let me run up out of here. I don't want to be part of no mess. I am not Superman. I'm not getting in this. I'm not going to jail tonight. I ain't getting punched in the face tonight. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Because even in situations when somebody says something slick, it's like, is it worth the fight? Is it worth getting new glasses? Or talk about Pastor. It looks like it. Look, I got some new glasses on. So is it worth the fight? So right? Is it so that's comes with maturity. That comes in, especially those that have grown up hot-headed, like ready, like I wish somebody would kind of mentality. And as they get older, they're like, you know what? It's not worth going to jail for anymore. I got a family, I got kids. I don't want a record. I got a decent job. It changes, so you're not set off.
The thresholds are different.
Right. Somebody bump into you past back in the day, you got something to say. Now it's just like, he could have said, excuse me. Like, I'm gonna keep it moving. Like, is it worth, is this worth this confrontation? What I'm saying?
Oh no, I'll tell them they should have said excuse me. I won't say it to Yeah, I mean, you're not going to just bump into me and act like you didn't bump into me. That's
my whole point. That's my whole point.
That's never changed.
Right.
All I'm saying is we change. The situation is what it is, and it's going to remain what it was and what it is and what it will be. It ain't going to change. We change. That's the difference between somebody getting offended now over something that's true and somebody who changes maybe how they say it or what's said. It doesn't matter whether you say it or you don't say it. If it's the truth, it's the truth. The reality of it is we don't want to hear it only because of who it's attached to, but it's still the truth.
Right.
So
the motivation behind saying a certain statement tends to have sway in speaking that truth.
Right. It does, sometimes. But does it take away from it being the truth? Like, for instance, Pastor, we had the argument about BLM. Remember that? And then Blue Lives Matter and everything else. And he said, but it's a true statement. Right? Remember? And nobody agreed with him. But the statement he made.
About what now? Say that one more time.
Remember when we had the conversation about is Blue Lives Matter a true statement? Or all lives matter? And you said yes.
He said yes. Yeah. He said yes.
Right. And the reason other people had an issue with him saying that that's a true statement is because as Black people, we've been marginalized, right? So it's disrespectful to say it. It's the same thing in a relationship. If somebody says something and they're saying it from a place of hurt, it doesn't change the reality of what they said. I agree that it's attached with offensive nature and it's disrespectful because of what's attached to it, but it's still true.
Well, I would say this.
Dwayne. Before you start, Pastor.
Yeah,
this is wonderful you say that. Well, then I'll put it this way. Think of when you say a comparison to your wife with another person, like you're saying Black Lives Matter to somebody, and someone says all lives matter back to you.
That's exactly why I brought it. That's why I brought it up. Just to show the dichotomy that it doesn't feel right, but it's still true. That's the only reason I brought it up, because it doesn't feel right, but it's still true.
Right. Right. You can't.
Sorry,
you can't. Well, number one, comparing your current to your ex is ridiculous because.
Thank you. Exactly.
It's a false.
Wait. Here's the thing. No, here's the thing.
Let me get the point out.
There is no comparison.
Thank you.
Because we're no longer together.
Right. Exactly.
We're no longer together. Why would I compare what I have to something that I got rid of?
So I'm not saying okay. What I'm saying is the fact of the matter is whatever was said happened, and you did or did not learn from it. So granted, the right thing.
No. Lessons of the past are different than comparisons between.
But isn't a whole relationship with an ex a lesson from the past?
No. Listen. There's no way that I'm going to sit and talk to my wife today and say, well, here's what I learned in my relationship with my ex-wife.
Thank you.
Right. You wouldn't say
I would do
that all the time, though, right? But do you process? But do you process?
No, I do not. No. I do not. You want to know why? Because for me, so man thinketh, the Bible says, so man thinketh, so is he.
Right.
I don't want to be that. I don't want that. Like, for me, I take those lessons like I learn to walk. These are just my lessons in life. I'm not going to pinpoint, well, in this particular, like if I'm having a conversation with a group of men and we're having this talk and we're talking about things that we've learned, we could probably go there. But if I'm having a conversation with my woman, man, please.
Right.
I want to live.
Thank you. The point that I'm making, I'm not saying have these conversations with your woman. So let me make that point clear. I am not saying have the conversation with your woman. What I'm saying is whether you have the conversation with your woman or not doesn't change the fact that it's a truth that happened. That's all I'm saying. Y'all
but I guess the danger is like that. Just that whole like if that's like calling your current mistakenly by your ex's name.
Woo!
That's how dangerous that is.
No.
That's how dangerous it is.
But you're right, Master.
Maybe y'all
I'll never
got
do that.
this little bubble that protects everything about you in your mouth. I'm not saying that I've ever called her that and she audibly heard me, but I called my other kids' name. It's not happened before. Thank Jesus, I've never been. Who you call me? That's never happened. But look,
no, I'm not saying that. No, what I'm saying is, it's just as ugly.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Not that you do it to a woman, it would sound exactly like.
I understand and I agree. I agree with y'all saying. Okay, this is my question to you guys: whether it's spoke on or not, did it happen to you? That's the only question I'm asking. Whether you say it or not, does it change the fact that it's reality?
Yes, it happened, but do you have to actually address that with your wife?
But I already said I don't think you should. I'm just saying I want to focus on the fact that whether somebody can take it or not is a different story. It happened. It's a truth. And somewhere in you process that, whether it's cognitive or subconscious. You process it. We can say what we want to say. Yeah, we don't think about putting one foot in front of the other, balancing and everything else. But once you learn how to walk, your mind processes walking. Even if it's running in the background and you don't access the file, it's one of those type files, your mind is processing you walking. If you've been smacked before, it's called reflex at a certain point. If you've been smacked before and somebody goes, even if they don't smack you, your mind is already processing what you're not thinking about. Oh, somebody finna smack me. All I'm saying is reality. And I'm saying,
I think what's happening. I think what's happening is we're confusing the term compare with reflection.
Right.
I think that's what's happening because what you're talking about, Dwayne, is do I reflect on decisions I've made and how I've handled certain situations and all that kind of stuff. That's not comparing your current to your ex. That's just reflecting on what you've learned from your past in past relationships.
However, if you were to do this out loud to your mate, they will take it as comparison.
Well,
they just have, and I'm doing it, and I'm speaking from experience.
Anything that sounds like, anything that sounds like, well, I learned from my last relationship. That's not how you talk.
Exactly. Before you go,
the truth of what happened is what led you to that. What you messed up back there, and what you processed and gotten better.
But the wisdom. But I'm saying, you can say that, but who formulates that phrase in a conversation with their woman? That's what I'm saying. Who does that?
For the 100th time, I said I agree with all of you that this is not a conversation that you have. However, it's true nonetheless that it happened and we process from it, and people are sensitive. That's the reason why it's not brought up. That's the reason people's sensitivities are the reasons some people can't have a conversation like this.
No. When I testify of anything in my life, I don't have to tell you who was there.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. I just tell you what I went through and what I've learned.
Experience.
Yeah, you're telling the experience and the lesson learned from it.
Moments. I'm talking about the moment. The moment that you feel that something is reminding you of something you've been in before. That moment.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, there's like your life is a sum total of experiences. Your life is a sum total of experiences. But you don't. But when
out because of who we're talking to, we change those experiences because of who we're talking to.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you? Because you're sensitive to that. Because even listen, let's go back. Hold on. But let's go. But we all. But that's our nature. We are sensitive feeling people. Like if I'm talking to you, Dwayne, about a situation that's happened, right? And it involves someone that either you got issues with, some situation like I messed around with your ex at this time. Like I wouldn't mention characters, I would mention the situation. And you ever like watch movie, even in your life, situations are brought up, and then someone's like, who was there with you? And it take a wrong turn because it's like, oh, now we got to discuss the players involved,
right.
So it's everybody. We're all sensitive. All of us
right, but
are sensitive.
But does your sensitivities change anything from the past?
Don't need a man.
It's about how you explain it, though. It's about how you talk about it.
But why though?
Because we're sensitive.
Those are our sensitivities.
All right.
That's the point.
Appreciate you, Cole.
No, those are our sensitivities, and that's the point. The point is our sensitivities will put us in a box.
Oh, I got what you
and will cause us to be a certain way with a certain group of people at a certain time.
All right.
If that's not the case, that's why we can talk to people who we don't have. There's the way the relationship that you have with Sam will create a pattern on how you talk to people. But you meet some random female on the streets and y'all have the same conversation because you don't value her sensitivity the same way you value Sam's sensitivity.
She has no buy-in into my life. No. she has no relevance into my life, so it doesn't matter what I say.
She has no relative, but it's her sensitivities that cause you to speak to her a certain way.
It's really the love he has for her, which does that.
Right. It's a respect thing. All right, hold on.
Thank you.
We're gonna take a quick break. That's really, really late. We'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. Ready to go live? Go to bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. That's bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. This episode is also brought to you by Self. Build credit now. Go to bit.ly/now build credit. bit.ly/now build credit. All right, welcome back to the Brothers of Legacy. I literally had to change should we compare our past to our future, but today I really wanted to talk about changing our who we are, from who we are to who we become. Some of our motivations to help us change into who we become. Oh, you done took us down a rabbit hole. I appreciate you, Dwayne. Thanks.
I don't even know if it's a rabbit hole. I think it's terminology.
Listen, we going around in a circle with something that you already agree that we agree to, and yet, hold on. And I get it. And we are all sensitive. We all have sensitivities. We have some preconditions. We have things that we don't like that we've experienced in the past. There's certain things that you might bring up the pastor that can trigger certain things to Cole, that would trigger to me, that can trigger certain things. So we are all, like I said, we are all the sum total of our experiences. When you're a kid, there's certain things that you would do because you have no experience. But as soon as you do it and it go bad, you never do it again. I forgot, is it pastor? I think there's something that he eats, that he used to eat, but he don't eat because of something happened. You're like me, I can't do cornflakes because I had a long hair in the cornflakes that jacked me up. So
yeah, I can't. The last time I ate chitlins, I haven't eaten pork in 30 years, but even when I did, I stopped eating chitlins because I got a bad batch in like 1988.
Right. One thing changes everything.
And I tell people today, I don't eat chitlins. But I don't have to go all the way back to 1988 to where I was and who cooked them. I don't have to.
Right, it's an experience.
All I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. This is all I'm saying. We sometimes and this is what happens when communication happens, when people got two different ideologies of what's being talked about. Nobody hears what the other person is saying. That's why I try to acknowledge, look, I understand what you're saying, but this is what all I'm saying is who we are, what we've done brings us to what we are right now. There's a point in life that we thought that everything that our parents said was foolish and stupid. And now we look back and we was like, wow, I completely get it now. All I'm saying is when we dismiss some things in our lives because of who we are with, then it takes a part of your this here. I'm listening. Listen. You got.
I'm gonna give you a minute. I'm gonna give you a full minute.
In conversation with yourself only. Take everybody else out, because a lot of times people mess up because they bring an incomplete them into a relationship where they're supposed to be whole, and you got an incomplete person with possibly and probably another incomplete person. Okay. And now you're taking their into account their sensitivities, and you never become whole. All I'm saying, if you focus on being whole and you don't have these problems, but almost none of us go into any relationship whole. All of us are broken in some way, shape, or form going into another relationship. Then we're trying to protect somebody else's feelings and not being real with ourselves, and we remain crippled. And if you're not if you're not that person, then this conversation is not for you. But it's a reality whether somebody disagrees with it or not. Why? Because it was my reality at one point, and it was when I became honest with me that I started.
Yeah, you're honest with yourself.
Certain things. Say again.
Like I mean, you 100% expose yourself when you talk to, like, this is what I'm wrong in. This is what I need to work on. This is what I need to stop doing. And you can do all the comparisons in your head that you like. But when you're talking to your spouse, why would you need to bring up that kind of situation?
No,
say,
listen, he's not. But he's not saying when you're talking to them, because he's made it clear that it's not something that has to be spoken out loud. Or maybe if it is, it is. But if you don't, even if you don't speak it out loud, you do it internally, is what Dwayne is saying. And my response to that is I completely understand what you're saying. Certain people have more vivid memories of their experiences. Right. What I'm saying is I take the lesson. I don't have to go all the way back to the incident. Right. I don't have to go all the way back to the identifiers, because I've learned the lesson. Once I've learned the lesson, I apply the lesson moving forward. Right. I don't have to relive the event. I just apply the lesson. Right. That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't matter where it came from. Even internally, I do that.
Yeah, most people don't do what you're saying. They talk about it, but they don't do it. That's I was just trying to identify that, because people sometimes I've done it. I've gotten so caught up with what I was supposed to make her feel that I've completely neglected myself, and I've stayed in a spot that I didn't get healing from. So
that's the this one time at band camp mindset. Remember this one time at band camp, everything goes back to the event. And certain people do think like that. Man, when I was with Shelly, I learned, I'm like, why are you talking about Shelly?
I'm talking about when it's not just one time at band camp. Oh, I still look at other women and I can't keep my eyes to myself. Or, if this woman speaks to me when she starts arguing with me, I'm talking about the repeat stuff. I'm not talking about the one time at band camp. I'm talking about the things that you struggle with in life. Those things.
Right. I get you. Yeah. I think the whole purpose of this dialogue is so that we learn. And you're right. I mean, when you are at 21 years old and you're repeating it, you don't understand the consequences. Or 16, you don't understand the consequences. Right. But you 45, which I think everybody, I think everybody here is over 45.
Yeah, I just got there.
And you're doing that, your life shows. And what I'm saying is, if it's that obvious, you're alone anyway. When I have conversations with people like that, and they're in their 40s, I tell people, there's a lot that you have to learn, and I'm not worried about you. I'm concerned with the person that would have you. Right. Because anybody that will have you and you talk like that is even more dangerous than you are. Right. Yes, right. Indeed. That's if you want to talk, if you want to be real. Right. If this is how you're communicating to people and you're grown, you're an adult. Right. I'm concerned about your relationships, period. Because who's entertaining that? You have to be intoxicated, high, to entertain that kind of conversation. Right. If every time I talk to you, we're trying to get in a relationship and you're thinking about your last relationship or all you can't have a conversation without bringing up what you were doing, as if what we're doing is wrong. Right. Miss me. Right.
Some people never move on.
I know. That's right. And I get you. And you know what? Yeah. And those people stand out. Because those are the same people that are still fighting, still getting arrested, still going to jail. That's those same people
doing the same nonsense. Nonsense. over and over.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
They need Jesus.
Yes. I mean, so yeah, and that's kind of like the purpose of the conversation, to kind of talk about your change and when it happened. You know, like what changed your mindset? What was your motivation? And as me and Cole was speaking earlier, you know, what was your external change that helped shift your mindset? Because it takes
survival, wanting to live,
right,
wanting to live a cleaner life. You know, when you that's the thing. Yeah. It's like, you know, that same kind of mentality that you're talking about, Dwayne, is an unforgiving spirit. That's the kind of people that hold things over your head.
That's where my change came in at, because I didn't. And all I'm saying is, even though three people had a different view from me, what I'm telling you was that was my story. And it is a truth because it was my truth. And if it's my truth, that means somebody else out there has a truth similar. And I was just bringing light on it. It's easy for us. The right answer is what you guys were saying. That not common sense. Yeah, those things that was in the comments. Duh, I know it's common sense. Baby, you act just like my ex when you do. No, that's stupid. I'm not that dense. Right. I'm just saying the flip side of that is it's an identity that there's something either wrong with the relationship or wrong with you because somebody is thinking that. And if somebody is thinking that, it still has to be addressed some way, shape, or form. No, you don't say, baby, you acting just like her. But now you got to identify, okay, for me, I had to identify, why is this coming up? Why am I thinking like this? What is wrong in here? Or what am I not doing? Or what am I not seeing? What do I need to grow to? And
well, I think some of it is why do you keep connecting with the same type of personality?
Right.
You said it was unforgiveness.
Right.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Part of it, that's one thing. But if you're saying, "Oh God, this reminds me of," then you have to check yourself. Like, what am I drawing in? Mm-hmm. You know, because that's the signals that you're putting out. Because if you can change people and the conversation is exactly the same, you got to check yourself.
Right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We appreciate you guys rocking with us and hanging with us. Another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. Make sure you join our community. Text LWN to 84576. Text LWN to 84576. Make sure you share, tag somebody in this thrilling conversation of the brothers. So we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Yeah, and look out for the text, because then you'll know what we're going to talk about and what we're discussing, and be a part of our movement. All right, so we look forward to talking to you and seeing you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Be blessed, keep pushing, keep growing, and listen. Know that we love you. God loves you more. And thank you, Mama Corey. Appreciate you guys rocking with us. And we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow in the AM. Peace out. I didn't want to catch that. Morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition. Good morning, everybody. This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. Ready to go live? Go to bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. That's bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. This episode is also brought to you by Self. Build credit now. Go to bit.